Hi, my name's Cheryl Alker from 24/7 Wellness and Living. Have you ever got up from sitting and literally gone, oh, my lower back's killing me? You know, you really sort of had to stretch it out. Well, one of the reasons for that is a muscle called iliopsoas, psoas in fact, and it's a muscle that actually originates from the lower back. So it starts in the lumbar region of the spine, L1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and it threads through the pelvis almost as the crow flies and finishes on top of the femur bone. Now, when this muscle gets short and tight, it actually draws the origin of the muscle closer to the insertion point. So what happens with our posture is that it starts to tilt the pelvis back in this fashion, and what that's doing is compressing the lumbar region of your spine 24/7. The worst thing about that compression is that we have gel within our discs which through normal movement and mobility get massaged around evenly. However, when that back is being compressed in that tight position continually, what happens is the gel within the disc starts to bulge through and herniate or bulge, and often then herniation. So it starts to press on the nerve, and that's what causes a lot of sciatic pain as well. But that stiffness that you're feeling is if you've been sitting for hours on end, maybe 2 or 3 hours behind the desk, and when you get to sit up, what's happening when you're sitting is that muscle is shortening and tightening. So imagine if I tightened and shortened my bicep and kept it in this contracted state for about 2 to 3 hours. When I tried to move my elbow joint, you can imagine how stiff this joint would feel. Well, it's exactly the same with psoas, your hip flexor, because when you're sitting, you're actually shortening this muscle and contracting it. So when you get up from a desk after, 2 to 3 hours sitting there, it starts to pull on the lower back. So you get this really horrible stiffness and pain in the lower back. So what I'm actually going to give you today as a gift from 24/7 Wellness and Living is a stretch to combat that shortening and tightening of psoas when you sit for prolonged periods. So what we're going to do is come down and show you the stretch now. So here's a great stretch to combat that tightness that you can cause by sitting for prolonged periods of time and shortening psoas. So I've got here a chair, and you can place one leg out in front of you. Now you need to make sure that the knee is in line with the ankle. So you don't want to start with the knee overshooting the toe, okay? So we place the leg firmly out. You can hold on to the chair and literally extend your back leg out as far as you feel that it'll go safely and effectively and it's not causing you any issues. And then basically you want to drop weight literally into the belly of the muscle. Remember I said the origin of this muscle is the lower back, threads through the pelvis and finishes here on the femur bone. So what we're going to do is just take a nice deep breath, and as we exhale we sink the weight right into the belly of the muscle. So we literally push the hips forward and try and and you'll start to feel a little bit of tension here. Abdominals should be pulled in tight, so don't let the belly hang. Really draw the abdominals in and literally feel as if the tailbone's sinking towards the floor. Now, you also want to make sure that you're not arching your back. So ensure that you're keeping that nice body weight flowing through from the hip up to the shoulder girdle back and down. And if you are quite strong and you've got good core strength, you can, if you haven't got a chair handy, put the hands on the front of the thigh. But it is nicer with a chair, and you literally just sink the weight right into the pelvis there. Another little thing you can do is just drop the hips over to the side a little bit, and there's an assisting muscle called iliacus, just fits on the inside of the iliac crest there of the pelvis, and by just sinking the weight a little bit to the side, you highlight more weight into that muscle. And then we'll just bring it back into center, shoulder girdle back and down, abdominals tight, take a nice deep breath and sink the weight. Think about the tailbone dropping down to the floor, abdominals tight, shoulder girdle back and down, nice stretch for Psoas, your hip flexor. And it will really help with anybody who has lower back issues, as if, you know, especially if this muscle's been causing it. And you'll feel that that curve of the lower back isn't being forced so much. So enjoy the stretch. You want to hold it for about 1 minute or so, and obviously do both sides.